and welcome back. Today, we're at the 2020 Ridge Run Sprint Enduro. Yeah, doggy, I am back racing something a little bit faster than just walking speed. This is a Sprint Enduro, not a hard Enduro. And we're off! Tom pulling the holy. Got split lanes here, what the heck? But let's stop for 1 second here. This thing, whoa, this thing is shaky as all heck. And I would say one of my main complaints is how shaky my footage is. So, introducing Stabilized. So I don't like GoPro footage that is super hyper smooth stable. It looks like a drone just going through the woods and nothing's like it just takes away from riding. But here I think I've got the right balance. It's stabilized enough to where it's easy to watch. It's nice, I like it. But it's not taking away the action. Like, you're still in there racing, baby, so we're behind Tom. And I'm like, dude, Tom is ripping the piperator here. Come on, Tom! Oh, I eke it out. Showing some front wheel Tom's back, jeez. All right, I got around him now. So this is unusual. I've finally gotten to third gear. I haven't gotten to third gear all season doing these hard enduros, so I'm a little rusty. We're out on this grass track, and it's like, whoa, okay, I'm not used to this. Now we poke into some woods. So this Sprint Enduro is 3 laps of 3 tests. And so we're on lap 1, test 1. Then we'll go to test 2, which is a different course. Then we'll go to test 3, which is a different course. Then start lap 2 and do test 1 again. And so on. And your total time of all the tests cumulatively added up together is your final time. Fastest wins. And each test is a couple miles, you know, they're different lengths, and you gotta sprint as fast as you can. So I am on the same setup I've been running all year, the hard enduro setup, which really is just softer suspension. And I was a little worried about these higher speed races. I kind of, to be honest, sat a few out throughout the year because I was worried about it. I'm like, my bike's not set up to be going that fast. But it appears to be working, and working great. I feel dialed. Into the woods now, we're in these pines, and it's the typical New York conditions. You got the rock, shale stuff, and just webs of roots that are very slick, and you gotta be on your game in this stuff. Let's switch to the unstabilized. Look, this is what it would be. Especially in this really choppy, rough stuff, then this is that same clip, stabilized. I don't think you can go wrong there. Now, the aspect ratio is a little bit weird. You'll notice on the edges, the fringes are, like, stretched. So the format I record in, and it helps get the bike in the picture. Seeing the bike react and go over the terrain, thank you, really gives you an idea of the terrain. So I think it's I don't know. I mean, I am in love. I'm having a here. Okay, forget it. Nobody wants to hear about the camera nerd stuff. We're here for the dirt biking. Beautiful trail. And then we pop back out into some grass track. Test 1 here had loads and loads of grass track. Oh man, is this sick or what? So here's the thing, like, I could have done races like this all season that are, I mean, this race was an hour away from where I live. Instead, we chose to go, on average, like 10 hours to struggle and cry doing the hard enduros. But hey, it's, I don't know, it's stupid. Something's wrong with me. And out here, you're under these power lines. I don't know what it is with power lines, but they're always notoriously bumpy as heck. They're rough. It's just choppy and not very smooth out here. And this is where I struggled with the suspension setup. I'm trying to go fast, but you're hitting all these bumps, and I was definitely using every ounce of the suspension. And just like that, test 1 is done. Oh. 5 engines. Test number 2. 3, 2, 1. Oh, I put her into neutral. Now, y'all might be wondering, why doesn't Tom have GoPro footage? Well, let me tell you. We are at the race. We're getting ready. Gearing up. Tom looks up at me in extreme fear, and he's like, oh, I forgot my helmet. My heart drops. I'm like, dude, the race is gonna start, and you need a helmet for the race. So we're in panic mode. Tom walks up and he makes an announcement. Does anybody have an extra helmet? Like a lost dog, he starts walking and asking around, hoping, because they have a morning race, an amateur race in the morning, if anything, maybe we could borrow someone's helmet that's from the morning. It might be a little wet and sweaty, but I'd take wet and sweaty over not racing the dirt bike, you know what I'm saying? So he comes back, he's caught a fish, he's found a helmet. It's a little old, a little dusty, but she'll do. She will do. Now, it came from a dealership, Mile Hill Cycle, and we were supposed to return it, but they had left before we could return it. So now I have got this helmet in my garage, and we need to return it. Although it's probably worth a lot of money now because Tom's sweat is in it, and we might have to now auction it off on ZACattack1.com. So test number 2 here, if you haven't picked up on it, is gorgeous terrain. I am loving these trails. Ooh, baby. Now, this one didn't have much grass track. Well, it's got Powerline grass track, which Powerline grass track is rough and chopped. It's like riding a bull. And then regular grass track is riding a donkey. No, not a donkey. A horse that crossbreeded with a donkey. What are those called? A Dorsey? No, it's a mule. What's the one that... Forget this. Stay focused on the video. Oh, I really like this stuff in here. It was a little more technical, and then it popped back out onto the Powerline grass track. Did I ever tell you about John Grass? I was told this by a local legend that John Grass, who is the creator, inventor of Grass Track, this is folklore, of course, but oh, we're pulling in. I'm going to have to cut that story short. Test 2 complete. Thanks.
Problem is if we get 2. This will be minute 49.
We are now at test number 3. Prepare for launch. Alright, so we've covered the story about Tom's helmet. We talked about the grass tracks. What's the story on test 3 gonna be about? Shredding the Beta 300, baby. I'm gonna do a video because it was the #1 asked question all season. What do you think of your Beta? How do you like your Beta? How's the Beta been treating you? Question after question. I answered that so many times. I'm gonna make a video about it because when I'm at the races, I don't have time to get into the full rundown. So I wanna really cover it because it's been great. And that's my answer when I'm asked that, but I'd like to talk about it. We're gonna go do a whole video on it. So that's coming up. I also have coming up a trials event at Tom's house up in Vermont. And then we have a lot of riding we did up there. Hard Enduro adventures. So I have a whole bunch of footage from over the summer, and this is a question for you guys. I'm not as enthusiastic about uploading it because it's like the end of the season, at least for us in the Northeast. And I'm just like, it's so late now. I'm putting these videos out from races that were months ago. Does anyone still want to watch them? Whoa! There's a mess up. Get it back together. There we go. Recovered. But yeah, these are from such a long time ago. I'm like, forget it. It's so old. Nobody's going to watch it because it was from last year. But no, we're going to keep it going. I'm going to keep it going. We got to get through this winter, this off-season. Not really off-season because I'm going to try to ride a lot. Head south, catch some waves, some surf, some sand, some dirt biking. South. We're riding smooth, we're riding well, and so there's not much to talk to here. I mean, we're just piloting the Beta through the woods. Ooh, a hot line over the rock. I think not the biggest reason, but one thing that really helps to be fast is straightening out your line. Now, I'm not saying cutting the course, going off the course, but just using every inch of the track. You'll notice I'm on the very right, left, right, to go as straight as I can through a windy tree section. What that requires, though, is you gotta ride on the fringes, the edge of the course, where it is a little bit of the danger zone. You're not in the burned-in line necessarily, so you're hitting things not perfectly square and straight on. You might be off on that edge. And if you're going fast and you're carrying speed over it, it doesn't matter. And that's the biggest thing, is once you're going fast, you don't feel all the other things, and it's a weird, I don't know what I'm explaining. Trust me when I say this, I don't know what I'm talking about. So one thing I was kind of figuring out as I was tuning myself in, I first of all thought it was going to be a lot more moist on the ground. I thought we were going to be seeing some mud. So I put on a Dunlop MX3S rear tire, kind of expecting some muddy conditions, deep mud, potentially packing up the tires. So I went with the MX3S with the further spaced apart knobs, but it's not muddy. It is prime condition, and I prefer like the AT81 when it's drier out, and that would have been the ticket in these type of terrains. I found the MX3S losing traction, breaking traction, especially on the grass track, on edges, on the corners. With the spaced apart knobs, it's not going to be gripping as well as the AT81, in my theory. Now, I don't know. That's my tire thought for the day. He had some downhills here. It was a little more technical. I liked test number 3 here. It had a little mud here, you know, and some natural bumps and lumps and jumps. I liked it. My rut riding was a little rusty. Some rusty ruts. That's a tongue twister. My rut riding was a little rusty. Right at the end of test 3 here, you came down this gully thing, ditch. I like that. That was cool. And just like that, we wrap up test number 3.
Woo! Go.
Oh, all right, thank you. So there is a lap. I did all 3 tests in lap 1. We had to do 2 more laps on all those tests. And so I really tried to focus on being as consistent as I could going through these, especially on the grass track. What I would do is, I was trying to be very careful, smooth on the corner, hard on the straightaways. So hard on the gas, hard on the brakes, smooth. Hard, smooth, hard. Some of the corners were starting to build ruts up. Oh, yeah. It's really hard to gauge, though, in the sprint enduros how you're doing because you have no idea. You're out here, you finish your test, you're like, all right, that was pretty good, but, like, how are the other riders doing? I'm racing AA, and I have no idea if I'm doing well, if I'm doing bad. I don't know. I'm just having fun, and that's what I was really out here for. Was to just ride my dirt bike, just to have some fun. You're what?
You're not getting this.
Oh, come on. You're not going to want to do that.
You almost took me out at the start.
Whew. I know, well, I put it in
I
neutral.
thought my front wheel was going to get stuck in your peg like last time.
Tom on this test gets to jump on me, and then I miss-shift here. He's gone! He's gone! Over here, I start to catch them. Woo! And I open up the throttle. Hey! Woo-hoo-hoo! Man, what a fun day. Oh, I can finally say I'm hauling bologna sandwiches again. rode really consistent all day. I had one mistake on the very last test on the last lap that cost me a position in the overall, but other than that, it was a really good day. I had a great time and finished 7th overall and 4th in the AA class. And there was some pretty good competition there, so I'm happy with it considering I was doing hard enduros all season. Now Tom, the absolute sandbag savage animal he is, got first in the Open B class by like 10 minutes. I think he's gonna have to bump up here. But he said he was trying to keep up with me, and he was, you know, it was kind of pushing him, and that's what you need to do. You gotta ride with faster people to get faster, and that's what it does. So anyway, we'll see you guys on the next one. I think next up we'll do the Trials event, or do you want to see another Sprint Enduro? Vote in the comments. Sprint Enduro or Trials for the next video. See you there. Thank you.